Consumers score a major victory over the state's largest utility. OU's president reflects on the watershed year of 2015. And what if you had a student government but nobody cared? OU Nightly starts now. After a close race and a runoff, this is the first week on the job for student government president Daniel Pay, and he needs a little help.
Pay is now looking for students to fill his cabinet to help with the task of running student government, but it might be harder attracting people to help run an organization that some feel is no longer relevant, and many others don't even know it exists.
I've never heard of SGA.
No, I don't. What do they do?
I have no clue.
I know I have a friend in it.
Inform me.
So they're the Student Government Association.
Of course.
So you didn't vote in the election, did you?
I have not voted because I'm not registered here in Norman. I'm registered in out of town.
There is a disconnect between SGA and the student body right now. Not many students know about SGA or know about its potential, and we want to really challenge that status quo.
That might be a bigger challenge than Pay thinks. Out of the 13 students I interviewed, only one knew what SGA was, and she says it was because of the recent elections.
I don't really hear about them until elections comes, and we have to vote for a new SGA president. But I mean, I have faith that this semester it might actually change.
Pay says more can be done to serve students, but it won't happen overnight.
Certainly there's plenty of room for us to really go out there and communicate our message and our ideas. I think it just takes persistence. You're not going to change everything overnight.
Only 1 in 10 OU students voted in the election. If you'd like to know more about SGA or apply for cabinet positions, visit sga.ou.edu.
And despite SGA's problems, holiday cheer is still spreading across campus. OU students gathered late yesterday to ring in the upcoming holidays. This celebration was centered around inclusivity. Both the menorah and Christmas tree were lit, and people of different faiths shared what it meant to have such a welcoming campus. And of course, at the end, Santa Claus came to say hello to children and wish everyone a happy holiday.
OU President David Bourne attended last night's holiday event, and he said he believes the university is alive and well. Reflecting on the year 2015, Bourne said he believes OU was elevated by the trials and tests created by the tensions on campus last spring.
When the events unfolded last spring, I kept asking myself, why can't we love each other and respect each other and take care of each other and include each other and love each other? And the answer to that is we can.
Last night's event included everyone who wants to celebrate their own holiday, and because of how far the university has grown from last year, President Bourne believes last night meant even more.
Right here on our OU campus, the most special kind of community that can be examples to other people around our country. This night is always a special night to me, and having gone through the experiences of last year, and I think all of us having learned so much from those experiences, it's even more special than ever this year.
Bourne says the university will continue to work with students and organizations to keep making OU more inviting and inclusive for everyone.
Earthquakes continued rumbling across the Sooner State today, but all the shaking has apparently failed to convince Oklahoma's Corporation Commission to take action to stop them. After a mid-November swarm, the commission shut down several wells and drastically cut wastewater injections in others. Geologists say so far there have been 2 quakes today in north central Oklahoma, 9 yesterday and 16 the day before.
While the Oklahoma Corporation Commission did not take action on earthquakes, it did issue a ruling that shook things up at Oklahoma Gas and Electric Company. The commission rejected an OG&E proposal to make $700 million in federally mandated air quality improvements and stick consumers with the bill. A company spokesman said the ruling stunned the utility. Under the proposal, over the next 4 years, residential customers' power bills would skyrocket by nearly 20%.
Well, we were definitely hiking up the bills this weekend with that ice storm and the cold.
Most definitely. Braden, starting to warm up though. What's it look like now?
Yeah, we hiked up the bills this weekend. Now we hiked up the temperatures. 50s right now, taking a look live outside at the OU Everest Training Center. Sunny skies, Pleasant conditions today. A strong northerly wind, though, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Temperatures are in the mid-50s. Humidity is about 50%, but the dew points are pretty low, keeping conditions pretty dry across the state today. Where that ice storm is actually the area of low pressure near Chicago, which is bringing snow on the back end, but really bringing a lot of rain, a wall of rain from the southeast all the way up to Maine and the coast of Canada as well. That was our ice storm. Really, it's gaining moisture all the way from the equator up to Canada. It's bringing moisture all the way from the Pacific Ocean at the equator all the way up here. Our next storm system is up in the Pacific Northwest, but won't really affect us for the next couple of days. We have an area of high pressure in Texas that really will help our freezing temperatures continue, and I'll tell you how warm we'll get and what that will mean for our 7-day forecast, as well as to look back at our hurricane season here in 2015. But for now, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Braden. Now, Congress has approved nearly $3.4 billion for Oklahoma highways and another $240 million in mass transit funding. Most of that money will be spent on highway projects statewide. Senator Jim Inhofe says the appropriation is the largest investment infrastructure in Oklahoma history.
The Oklahoma Turnpike Authority approved measures to move forward with a massive expansions. Governor Mary Fallin unveiled the new turnpike program called Driving Forward back in October. The $892 million proposal will involve multiple turnpikes as well as a new Oklahoma City turnpike. And now OU Nightly's Tyler Jones joins us in the News Center with the latest on the developing story in California. Tyler?
Yeah, Dylan, police are searching for a gunman following a mass shooting at Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino, California. The shooting began around 1 o'clock this afternoon, lasting for nearly an hour and a half. Police say there are as many as 3 possible suspects, and there are more than 20 shooting victims. CNN has reported that there are fatalities and confirmed 14 dead. Inland Regional services people with developmental disabilities. And in the UK, lawmakers have been debating whether they wanted to join the war on ISIS and begin their own airstrikes. And we have just received word that they have approved the airstrikes and that they are going to join the war on ISIS. And they'll be looking forward to doing those coming up as soon as possible. And coming back to the United States, a jury has been seated in the trial for the first of 6 Baltimore officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray. Gray died in police custody of spinal injury suffered while riding in a police van. Prosecutors say Officer William Porter could have saved Gray's life had he called for a medic. Porter's attorneys dispute that claim. And that's what's happening around the world. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Tyler. Well, still ahead on OU Nightly, after a fight for her life, an Oklahoma teen is on the road to recovery.
And in Tech Talk, 'tis the season for giving, but wait till you hear just how much one CEO plans to give away. Eric Payne joins us now in Tech Talk. Now, people are always more generous around the holidays, but Mark Zuckerberg has a different motive to his generosity, right, Eric?
That's right, Amy. And Mark Zuckerberg and his wife will give away 99% of their Facebook shares over their lifetime to celebrate the birth of their daughter. Money from the shares, worth about $45 billion, will go to projects and charities that promote human potential and equality. Zuckerberg is not the first billionaire to promise to give away their fortune. They join other billionaires like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, who've pledged to give more than half of their money to charity. And another nail was driven into the coffin of Adobe Flash this week as the company renamed the tools to Animate. Flash is a system that delivered video, ads, and games to our web browsers for years. This is the latest development in a move to build Flash capabilities directly into browsers. On the almost 500,000 websites monitored by the HTTP archive, 21% still use Flash. BlackBerry will get the boot in Pakistan by the end of this month. The cell phone company refuses to comply with the government demands to access users' private messages. The company does provide law enforcement with access to secure messages when public safety is a concern, but says Pakistan wants a permanent backdoor into BlackBerry servers. And it's always really interesting to see what governments are doing to try and get more access.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Eric.
An Oklahoma high school cheerleader went from cheering at her school's Friday night lights to lights out. OU Nightly's Rashida Kaba has the story of one 16-year-old girl's struggle to overcome a rare medical condition.
Sweet 16, a time when teenagers wait their chance to get behind that wheel. But for Alizé Bradford, it was a fight for her life. At first thinking she was struck by the common cold, but instead a disease threatening to take her life.
The rash, I think it started on my arm, and so I was just constantly itching at my arm, but I didn't think much of it. And then the point where it started getting like bigger and more blotchier and redder is when I started thinking like, okay, I need to tell my mom, like.
The doctors misdiagnosing her test after test before concluding that it was coronavirus, an upper respiratory illness that affects more than 85% of people. Her condition worsened. Her fever shooting up to 104 degrees. She quickly developed pneumonia and was put in an induced coma.
I asked the doctors, is my child going to make it? And they had told me, well, 60% chance, and I didn't recognize my daughter.
Alizé was put on life support, her body discolored, her face swollen, almost unrecognizable.
You going from one active teenager and then you see your child where she couldn't do anything for herself. Not even to comb my hair, she couldn't do anything. She couldn't even use her hands or anything. So, this is hard than I thought it was going to be.
But after a long month of waiting and worrying, Alizé finally woke up.
I don't remember waking up from the coma, but I do remember that my mom had organized this whole ordeal, and she had gotten nurses and doctors in the PICU room to like come in and start doing like a rap or something. And I remember I was trying to clap to the beat and I would miss because I was so weak.
2 months of rehab and a summer of homebound tutoring later, Alizé is now a junior at Westmore High School. She's back being a normal teenager again. Rashida Kaba, OU Nightly.
Alizé hasn't yet returned to cheerleading, but she has a new goal. She wants to be a physical therapist and help others like herself.
Great to hear, Dylan, definitely. Now, straight ahead on OU Nightly, Braden's going to have that full weather forecast for your week.
50s across the state right now, clear skies, but with a weekend storm chance. I'll tell you what you can expect next. We certainly warmed up after our ice storm this weekend. 50s across the board, 51 in Woodward, 55 in Elk City, 56 in Altus right now. But the ice storm that brought so much ice to northwestern Oklahoma brought a lot of rain to southern portions of central and southeastern Oklahoma, making Tishomingo, Oklahoma today, as of December 2nd, the wettest city in the continental U.S. right now. 79.3 inches of rain have fallen in the last year in Tishomingo, Oklahoma. Our Norman average is 38.7 for the year. We passed that way back in May. Our year-to-date here in Norman is almost 61 inches. And to just add a little bit of weirdness on to 2015 in weather, we had a record number of major tropical cyclones in the northern hemisphere this year as well. 25 category 4 or 5 tropical cyclones this year, shattered a record of 18 back in 1997 and 2004, but only one of those was in the Atlantic, and that was Hurricane Joaquin that we talked about earlier on this year. There's a bit of a hurricane drought, really, as I like to call it, in Florida right now. Thanks to the Weather Channel, this graphic of hurricanes, landfalling hurricanes over the last 10 years, Florida has been hit by one. And not only that, they have missed the last 64 straight named hurricanes in the Atlantic. Oklahoma even has been hit by a hurricane that turned into a tropical storm in the last 10 years. Florida hasn't, and they're going to continue as we wrap up this hurricane season to not really be affected. Now looking back here at Oklahoma lows tonight, here's the freezing line. A hard freeze northwest of that line, 29 in Woodward, Oklahoma City, and in Norman. We're going to continue to warm up nicely, though. 52 at noon, 56 at 4 p.m. under sunny skies. Highs tomorrow, 50s again for much of the state. 54 in Oklahoma City, 56 here in Norman. 7-day forecast, much of the same. 58 on Friday, 55 on Saturday. Sunny skies. A chance of rain on Sunday, not expecting very much. We're going to be really starved of moisture here in Oklahoma, so we might have a small shower or thunderstorm passing through, but really beautiful conditions.
Yeah, not too much going on. Well,
no.
Thank you so much, Braden.
Thanks, Braden. We're still ahead. Haley Huey, you're here. What's the look like for the Big 12 champs in the playoffs?
Well, after that incredible win over OSU, OU football is still in the race for a national championship, and another Sooner team in the top 10 plays tomorrow. Sports is straight ahead. Welcome back to OU Nightly Sports. I'm Haley Huey. College football playoff rankings were released last night, and OU has maintained its spot in the top 4 at number 3 for the second week in a row. Nothing else has changed over the past 2 weeks, with undefeated Clemson at 1. Then Alabama's keeping their spot at number 2, even though they somewhat struggled against rival Auburn last Saturday. OU follows at 3, then Iowa at number 4, whose spot's a little iffy since they play number 5 Michigan State this Saturday for the Big Ten championship.
And I think we've seen it all with the formations we face. So hey, just whatever team we play, whatever offense they run, prepare for it, and prepare to shut it down.
We're just ready for whoever gets put in front of us. I mean, whoever you put in front of us is going to have to face us and stop the things that we do. So it's just kind of figuring out who we get first.
And potential Heisman candidate Baker Mayfield is now a finalist for the Walter Camp Award. Alongside some other big names in college football, the award goes to the nation's Player of the Year and often mirrors the Heisman voting. Mayfield joins Deshaun Watson, Derrick Henry, Desmond King, and Christian McCaffrey as the finalist for the honor. And OU women's basketball plays Little Rock tonight. Then the men's team follows suit tomorrow in Norman against Central Arkansas. Number 6 Sooners are coming off a strong win against Wisconsin Sunday, where Buddy Hield and Ryan Spangler had explosive games. However, it really was the Spangler show, making 7 of 9 shots, including 2 out of 3 three-pointers, ending up with 20 points total, barely missing his career high of 21 points.
Anytime we've got a lot of different weapons on the floor in terms of capable offensively, and Ryan's worked hard on that part of his game, and he knows that that's just going to complement everything else that he does and kind of sets up everything else. And
helping a guy like Ryan, he's good for the rules. He's so aggressive, attacking down. And then right now he's making a shot, so even making much more better for the team because he can make shots and put it on the floor and drive and kick. So it keeps us flowing going, and him opening the game for us is great for us.
And Kobe Bryant got a nice introduction in his hometown, Philadelphia, last night.
The third highest score in NBA history, the 2008 MVP, two-time NBA Kobe Bryant.
Kobe came out strong with 3 three-pointers in the first minute 15 seconds. Unfortunately for the Lakers, they broke the Sixers' 18 losing streak, falling 103-91. And finally, back in September, we showed you our Longhorn leaper, freshman Kerwin Roach Jr. jumping out of the gym at a Texas basketball practice. Great stuff, but of course we wondered, how could he really do in a real game? Well, last night we found out against Texas Arlington, Roach drove the length of the court, threw down the nastiest slam I've ever seen. Check out these replays. His head is at the rim. What do you guys think? Ever seen anything better than this? Oh, and Texas won the game 80-73 in overtime. Roach had 6 points, but 2 of them will be pretty hard to forget.
Wow, what a crazy dunk.
Yes.
Thanks, Haley.
And still to come on OU Nightly, move over Santa's elves. We've got some new helpers in town. Thanksgiving is over and people are getting ready for the holidays, stormtroopers included. Kyle and Phil share position the action figures, setting up a Christmas tree. There they are rolling up the carpet, getting ready to assemble the tree. You can see they have instructions out. And of course, they proudly show off their work to the commander of the Imperial Fleet,
How
Sith
cool.
Lord
How
Darth
cool.
Vader. Pretty crazy, right, guys?
Well, Braden, can we see a quick look at that evening planner?
Yep, clear skies tonight, guys. 42, calm winds, cooling down to 33. We'll get below freezing by the time we hit 7 a.m., so we have a hard freeze across much of the state, but it's going to be pretty cold and clear, guys.
Well, thanks Braden. And thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you here live tomorrow at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.